I caught my fiancé secretly mocking me as a placeholder she'd upgrade from. Then I canceled the wedding and exposed her affair to his wife. I, 33 male, own a custom furniture studio in Nashville. I build high-end pieces for clients who appreciate quality craftsmanship, everything from dining tables that'll outlive their grandkids to statement pieces for luxury homes. We specialize in live-edge hardwoods, traditional joinery techniques, and custom metal inlays. No particle board or veneer, just solid, honest materials that get better with age. It took me 8 years to build my business from a garage workshop to a proper studio with 4 employees and a wait list 6 months long. Not exactly Fortune 500, but I clear mid-6 figures annually doing what I love while answering to nobody but my clients and my own standards. I grew up watching my dad work construction 6 days a week to put food on the table. I started helping him when I was 14, learning to appreciate honest work and saving every dollar I earned. Dad taught me that your handshake is your bond, and shortcuts are just problems you're leaving for later. I put myself through trade school, lived on ramen while building my portfolio, and spent 3 years working under a master craftsman before branching out on my own. When I landed my first major commission, a conference table for a law firm downtown, Dad was the one who helped me deliver it in his beat-up work truck, the kind of pride they don't teach in business school. My ex-fiancée, Audrey, 29 female, came from the opposite world. Country club upbringing, private schools, summer homes, the works. Her dad's some big-shot attorney who sits on boards and plays golf with state senators. The kind of family where summer is a verb and they have monogrammed towels for their guest bathroom. She works as a senior consultant at MC Kinley Partners, one of those firms where people wear designer suits and talk about synergy and optimization frameworks, while billing $400 an hour for PowerPoint presentations that say absolutely nothing. We met at a charity auction where I donated a custom walnut dining table. She bid on it, won, then commissioned 2 more pieces, a coffee table and a bedroom set. We started dating after the 3rd delivery. On paper, we shouldn't have worked. She had an MBA from Vanderbilt. I had calloused hands and sawdust in my truck. But for 2 years, I thought we'd found something real. Turns out I was just her blue-collar fantasy before heading back to Prepville. My best friend, Jackson, we've been tight since we were 10, warned me early on. These society types, they see you as their rugged adventure before settling down with someone from their world. I laughed it off. Jackson owns a successful auto shop across town, and we've got this standing Thursday night tradition of poker with a few other guys who work with their hands for a living. I should have listened to him from the start. It would have saved me a world of trouble. We got engaged 6 months ago. Big diamond that I designed and had custom made by a jeweler friend, professional photographer, for the announcement. The whole production. Her parents hosted an engagement party at their country club that probably cost more than my first commercial workshop. Everyone there looking at me like I was some exotic animal at the zoo. Oh look, he actually builds things with his hands. The warning signs were there all along, like someone drowning but trying to act like they're just taking a casual swim. Like how Audrey would introduce me at her work events. This is Ethan. He makes furniture. Then she'd quickly add, but it's high-end custom stuff, like she needed to justify my existence to her colleagues with their soft hands and MBA buzzwords. Or how she'd suggest I might be more comfortable skipping certain dinners with her college friends, all consultants, lawyers, or finance types with summer houses and trust funds. The few times I did go, she'd squeeze my arm whenever I was about to speak, a silent signal to keep it brief. God forbid I talk about actual work that produces something tangible. There was the time she redecorated my house while I was at a timber auction in Kentucky. I came home to find my comfortable leather couch replaced with some angular monstrosity that looked good but felt like sitting on concrete. Your place needed a woman's touch, she said, like my taste was a problem that needed fixing. My workshop was the only place she didn't dare touch, probably afraid of getting sawdust on her Louboutins. When I brought Cooper, my black lab mix, to her condo for the first time, she made him stay in the kitchen on a brand new dog bed. I just had the carpets cleaned, she explained. Cooper, the most easygoing dog on the planet, looked at me like I'd betrayed him. I should have listened to my dog. Cooper knew she was full of it from day one. Even the engagement had red flags. When I finally proposed at a restaurant her parents recommended, her first words weren't, "Yes, but thank God you didn't do it somewhere weird like your workshop." Still, I chalked it all up to our different backgrounds. Relationships take work, right? You meet in the middle. What a load of crap that turned out to be. Jackson saw through her from day one. She treats you like a phase she's going through. he told me over some Halo while I was getting my ass kicked. Like dating a guy who works with his hands is her little rebellion before settling down with some dude in khakis who talks about his golf handicap. I should have just listened to the guy. The first real crack appeared at her colleague Trevor's wedding. I was at the bar getting drinks when I overheard Audrey talking to 3 women from her firm. Nothing specific, just the tone, the way they all went quiet when I approached, the poorly hidden smirks. After that, I started paying more attention. I noticed how she'd take phone calls in another room, speaking in low tones, how she'd angle her phone away when texting, how our wedding planning increasingly excluded me. Venues I suggested were quaint but not realistic. My ideas about the ceremony were sweet but not quite right for the crowd. Translation, not expensive enough to impress her friends. Our social calendar filled up with her friends and colleagues, while mine were relegated to maybe next month. We'd have dinner with my dad once every few months, but it was always rushed, always with Audrey checking her watch or her phone, making it crystal clear that spending time with a construction worker wasn't on her priority list. Then came the night that changed everything. One of our mutual friends, well, more her friend than mine, sent me a video clip from Audrey's private story. He said, "You deserve to know. Guy code at its finest." The video showed Audrey at a girls' night at her friend Kale's apartment. Wine glasses everywhere, clearly several drinks in. Someone off camera asked about wedding planning. "Oh God." Audrey rolled her eyes dramatically. "Ethan tried to suggest we use some of his artisanal wood," she made air quotes, "for the table numbers, like we're having some rustic backyard wedding instead of the Four Seasons. Does he not get how things work?" Another voice asked, "He's clueless?" Audrey laughed, sweet but so sensitive. "You know what he did last week? Got upset because I rescheduled dinner with his dad again. Like, sorry, but client meetings don't revolve around your family bonding time." The camera panned across several nodding faces before landing back on Audrey. "The worst part is having to manage him around my colleagues. He's got all these opinions about craftsmanship and sustainability that nobody cares about. I've basically learned to translate him so he sounds less, Then why are you with him?" someone asked. Audrey sipped her wine, considering. "He's hot, he's good in bed, and watching my mother squirm when he talks about wood grain at dinner parties is honestly hilarious. Plus, he worships me. It's like having a golden retriever that can also build you furniture." The room erupted in laughter. "But for real," she continued, "guys like Ethan can't handle real women with actual careers. He gets all weird when I talk about my job because he knows I make more than him. He's too sensitive to handle a woman who's as ambitious as me." "So, what's the plan?" another voice asked. Audrey shrugged. "I'm turning 30 next year. This buys me time while I figure out my next move. The ring's nice, and the wedding will look amazing on Instagram." She lowered her voice to a theatrical whisper. "I can always upgrade later." The video ended. I sat in my workshop for 2 hours, petting Cooper and staring at a half-finished walnut credenza. There was no anger, just clarity, like when you finally diagnose what's wrong with an engine that's been making a strange noise. I knew exactly what I needed to do, and it didn't involve couples therapy or working it out. Game over. First, I called Jackson. He came over with a 6-pack of energy drinks and listened as I played him the video. "We have a rule. Any crisis gets a full pack of Monster and a plan of action." "Jesus Christ," he muttered when it finished. "What a effing piece of work." "I'm done," I told him. "Not dragging this out." I waited until Audrey came over that night. She'd been texting all day about wedding venue options, completely oblivious to the storm brewing. When she walked in, I was sitting at my kitchen island, the phone with the video queued up in front of me. "Hey babe," she said, dropping her designer bag on the counter. "You won't believe the day I had." Trevor completely botched the Westfield presentation, and I had to. "I need you to watch something," I interrupted, sliding my phone toward her. "What's this?" She picked it up with that little crease between her eyebrows she got whenever I interrupted her stories. "Just watch." The color drained from her face as the video played. When it finished, she set the phone down. "That was taken out of context," she started, voice steady in that practiced way. "It was just girl talk, Ethan. Everyone vents about their partners sometimes." "That wasn't venting," I said, keeping my voice level. "That was contempt. You're blowing this way out of proportion." She reached for my hand. I pulled back. "This is exactly what I meant about being sensitive. It was a joke." "Funny," I said. "I'm not laughing." She switched tactics, eyes suddenly welling with tears. I'd seen this performance before. The instant waterworks whenever logic wasn't on her side. Works great in corporate negotiations. Not so much with guys who've spent their lives spotting structural flaws. I've been under so much pressure with work and the wedding. I said some stupid things I didn't mean. You know I love you. Do I? I stood up, putting distance between us. Because from where I'm standing, you're ashamed of me. You're using me as some kind of statement to piss off your parents, and you're already planning your exit strategy. That's not fair. You know what's not fair? Me finding out from a effing video that my fiancée thinks I'm some kind of pet project she'll eventually upgrade from. If you just let me explain. There's nothing to explain. I took a deep breath. The wedding's off, Audrey. Her tears dried up instantly, replaced by a flash of anger. You're ending our engagement over some stupid girl talk? This is exactly why I said you're too sensitive to handle real women. And there it was, the real Audrey, the mask slipping. Amazing how quickly the tears stop when they're not working anymore. I'm ending it because you have no respect for me, Audrey. That's ridiculous. You can't just throw away everything over one stupid video. It's not just the video, I said. It's all of it. So, this is it? Are you serious? Yeah, I am. Fine, let's see who'll look at you. You will never find someone like me. That's exactly the point. I don't want someone like you. Good luck with your upgrade, Audrey. After she left, slamming the door hard enough to make the windows rattle, I got to work. First, I called my bank and moved my money to a new account. We weren't married yet, but we'd started a joint account for wedding expenses. I transferred my half back to my personal account, not taking chances with a woman who'd already shown she viewed me as disposable. Next, I called our venues and vendors, explaining that the wedding was off. Most had cancellation policies, but I didn't care about the deposits. Worth every penny to be done with this. Let her explain to her fancy friends why there wouldn't be an Instagram-worthy wedding after all. I boxed up everything she'd left at my place. Clothes, makeup, the fancy coffee machine I'd bought because mine wasn't real espresso. Packed it all with the same precision I use when packaging furniture for delivery. No dramatics, no trashing her stuff, just efficient removal. I drove to her condo the next day while she was at work. Used my key to get in one last time. Left the box of her things on the kitchen counter along with a note, "Your upgrade awaits." I left my key on top of the note and walked out of her life. No dramatic speech, no negotiations. Clean break. Back home, I took Cooper for a long walk in the park where he could run off leash. Then I blocked Audrey's number. Simple, clean, done. Like removing a splinter, quick and decisive. The social fallout hit within hours. My phone blew up with texts from mutual friends wanting to know what happened. I gave the same response to everyone, ask Audrey. Let her do the explaining for once. At 7 a.m. The next morning, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Margaret, Audrey's mother, standing there in her designer workout clothes, face tight with anger, looking like she just stepped out of a country club brochure titled, "How to Intimidate the Help." "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded, waving what looked like our save-the-date card. Audrey is absolutely devastated. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" I leaned against the doorframe. "Morning, Margaret." "Coffee?" "I don't want coffee. I want an explanation for why you're throwing away the best thing that ever happened to you." "Best thing?" I raised an eyebrow. "You might want to ask your daughter about a certain video. She told me all about your ridiculous overreaction to some harmless girl talk." Margaret crossed her arms. "Men these days are so sensitive. In my day, you didn't throw away a perfectly good relationship over a few careless words." She said I was a placeholder until she could upgrade. That I was too sensitive to handle real women. That she was basically using me to piss you off. Margaret's expression flickered. Score 1 for the woodworker. Audrey can be theatrical when she's with her friends. It doesn't mean anything. It meant something to me. I straightened up. "Look, Margaret, I'm sorry about the timing and any embarrassment this causes, but I'm not marrying someone who sees me as beneath her. This is absurd. The deposits alone, I don't care about the money." Her eyes narrowed. "This isn't over. It is for me," I said, and closed the door. Felt damn good, too. 2 hours later, my dad called. "So, your mother-in-law just cornered me outside the hardware store," he said, amusement clear in his voice. "Quite a performance. Woman nearly knocked over a display of PVC pipe trying to explain what a mistake you're making. Sorry about that. Don't be. From what I gather, you dodged a nuclear missile, not just a bullet." Dad chuckled. "Want to tell me what happened?" I gave him the condensed version. "Good for you," he said when I finished. "Your mother would have been proud." That afternoon, I met Jackson and a few other friends at our regular bar. I needed to explain things face to face before rumors spread further. "Holy shit," said Marcus, another friend from our poker group, after I showed them the video. "What a piece of work. Told you she was bad news," Jackson said, signaling the bartender for another round of sodas. Yeah, you're a prophet." I rolled my eyes. "You guys know anyone looking for custom furniture? I've suddenly got a lot of free time to fill with work." We spent the next 2 hours talking shop instead of relationship drama. These guys understood that the best way to support a friend wasn't with emotional speeches, but with practical distractions and next steps. "No, how do you feel about it? Crap, just what are you going to do now?" The next week was a blur of cancellations, work, and dodging Audrey's increasingly desperate attempts to contact me. I threw myself into the studio, starting early and finishing late. I had a huge commission for a tech executive, a complete dining set in figured maple with black steel accents that demanded my full attention. Nothing clears your head like focusing on precision joinery for 12 hours a day. 2 weeks after the breakup, Cooper and I were at the dog park when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost sent it to voicemail, but something told me to answer. "Ethan, it's Belle." Belle was Audrey's college friend. We'd never been close, but she'd always seemed less fake than most of Audrey's social circle, actually asked questions about my work, and seemed interested in the answers. "What can I do for you, Belle?" "I'm not calling for Audrey," she said quickly. "She doesn't know I'm calling. I found something I think you should know about. I'm listening." "Listen, I was at Audrey's place yesterday. She was in the shower and her phone kept dinging with messages. It was right there on the coffee table, unlocked. I wasn't trying to snoop, but I saw the name Brad and messages popping up that seemed intimate." "Who's Brad?" "He's a VP at Hamilton Financial. He's also married with 2 kids. Her voice dropped lower. "They've been seeing each other for at least 3 months from what I could tell from the messages." I leaned against a tree, watching Cooper chase another dog. 3 months. We'd still been planning our wedding 3 months ago. I'd been comparing caterers, while she was sleeping with some married finance bro. Now, at this point, I didn't care about the cheating itself because she was done to me the moment I saw that video of her trashing me. But this was a chance to get her humbled. The universe handing me the perfect karma delivery system. "Can you send me screenshots?" "Already did. Check your email." "I'm sorry, Ethan. I know you guys just broke up, but this started while you were still together. I'd want to know. Why are you telling me this, Belle? You're her friend, not mine." There was a pause. "Let's just say I've been on the receiving end of Audrey's friendship before, and my sister's husband cheated on her last year. Some things shouldn't stay secret. Thanks, Belle. I appreciate it. One more thing. Brad's wife is Melissa Hamilton. She runs that boutique on 12th Avenue, the one with all the handmade jewelry. The irony, right? Her husband is cheating with someone who mocks craftspeople. Beautiful, perfect symmetry." After we hung up, I checked my email. The screenshots were worse than I expected. Not just the cheating, but the things Audrey said about me, how she was trading up from lumberjack Barbie to someone with actual prospects. How Brad was her real match because he understood how the world works. The sheer contempt in every message made my decision to end things look better by the minute. Dates on the messages confirmed what Belle said. This had been going on for months, right under my nose. There were screenshots of them together at a hotel bar in Atlanta when Audrey had told me she was at a client meeting, messages planning their next hookup scheduled for the week after our wedding. Classy. I sat with the information for a day, then got to work. After some digging, I found the wife's email. So, I created an anonymous email account and forwarded all the screenshots to Melissa Hamilton with a simple message. "I believe you deserve to know the truth about your husband. No need to identify myself or get involved in the drama. Just light the fuse and step back." The fallout was spectacular. I didn't need to do anything but watch it unfold through occasional updates from Belle. Brad's wife showed up at his office with the screenshots. She threw his clothes on the front lawn and changed the locks. Brad told Audrey he couldn't see her anymore. The screenshots got forwarded to his board members somehow. He's blaming Audrey for being careless with their communications. She showed up at his office making a scene, screaming that he promised to leave his wife for her, and security had to physically remove her. His company put him on leave pending an ethics investigation. The last text from Belle was the most satisfying. "Audrey's a complete mess at work." She missed a major client deadline, then had a meltdown in a staff meeting when her report was criticized. Mac Kinley put her on probation pending a review. Rumor is they're looking for a reason to let her go that won't result in a lawsuit. I texted back a simple thanks for the update and went back to finishing a custom walnut bookshelf with brass inlays for a music producer's home studio. Justice was working itself out without me lifting a finger. Poetry in motion. That weekend I did something I'd been planning for years, but always put off because Audrey thought it was childish. I bought a 2022 Mustang GT in Grabber Blue with the 5.0-liter V8. Not the most practical choice, but the growl of that engine was better therapy than anything else I could imagine. I kept my work truck for hauling lumber and deliveries, but the Mustang was for me. Some things are worth splurging on, and 460 horsepower of American muscle is definitely one of them. Jackson whistled low when I pulled up to our Thursday night poker game. Damn, she's beautiful. Thanks. Want to take her for a spin? He grinned. Hell yes. As we roared down back roads with the windows down, Jackson shouted over the engine, "This is the Ethan I've missed, the guy who does what he wants without asking permission." He was right. Somewhere along the way, I'd started filtering my choices through Audrey's approval. Every decision running through the "what would Audrey think?" processor, never again. That processor has been permanently uninstalled. 4 months after the breakup, business was better than ever. The restaurant commission led to 3 more high-profile projects. I hired 2 more craftsmen, both graduates from the trade school I attended, and leased additional workshop space next door. My days were filled with the honest satisfaction of creating beautiful, functional pieces that would outlast me. No corporate politics, no backstabbing coworkers, just the clean judgment of whether something is built right or wrong. I caught a lucky break when a designer from Architectural Digest visited Nashville and happened to eat at the restaurant featuring my tables. She reached out about a feature on craftsmen bringing traditional woodworking techniques into modern design. The 6-page spread included photos of me in the workshop explaining my joinery methods, with Cooper lounging on his custom bed in the corner. Orders poured in after that. Turns out rich people really do read those magazines. The timing couldn't have been better. One of our mutual friends forwarded me an email chain where Audrey had been trying to spread rumors that my business was failing without her connections. The feature proved otherwise. Nothing says I'm doing just fine like being in Architectural effing Digest while she's on probation at her consulting firm. My dad and I started a weekend tradition of fishing at the lake, where he taught me to cast a line when I was 7. One Sunday, as we sat in comfortable silence watching our bobbers, he said, "You know, son, your mother and I had our share of problems, but we always respected each other. That was non-negotiable. I know, Dad, you did right by walking away. Too many men would have stayed trying to prove something." He reeled in his line and recast. "Pride's expensive, but regret costs more." I started dating again cautiously. Nothing serious at first, just casual dinners that usually ended when the conversation inevitably turned to what the woman thought I should change about myself. Got really tired of hearing how my workshop hours weren't sustainable for a relationship or how I needed to diversify my social circle. Then I met Hannah, 30 female, a primary school art teacher, at a furniture exhibition where her school was looking for donated materials for their woodshop program. She wasn't checking out my wallet or social connections. She was genuinely interested in getting quality materials for her kids to learn on. Unlike Audrey, Hannah was authentically herself. No designer clothes or practiced laugh, just genuine curiosity and warmth. She came to check out my workshop on our second date and asked smart questions about the wood and my process. Didn't flinch at the dust or the noise. On our 5th date, she brought her sketch of a coffee table design and asked if we could build it together. That's when I knew she was different, not trying to change me, but wanting to understand what I do. "I've been wanting to learn woodworking forever," she explained, as I showed her how to use a hand plane. "But most guys either mansplain everything or try to do it all for me." "Well, I'm a pretty firm believer that the only way to learn is by doing," I said, stepping back to let her work. She grinned. "That's exactly how I teach my kids." 6 months after the breakup, Jackson, my dad, and a few other friends helped me host an open house for the expanded studio, local craft beer, tours of the workshop, and a chance to show potential clients our process. It was a huge success with several commissions booked on the spot. We had everyone from tech executives to restaurateurs in the showroom placing orders. As the event wound down, Hannah pulled me aside. "There's a woman outside who wants to talk to you. She seems intense." I followed her gaze through the front windows and saw Audrey pacing by the entrance, looking nothing like the polished consultant I remembered. Her hair was pulled back carelessly, her clothes wrinkled, eyes puffy. like someone had deflated the blow-up doll that was her persona. I stepped outside. "Audrey, what are you doing here?" "Your business looks successful," she said, gesturing at the crowd inside. "Congratulations." "Thanks. What do you want?" "Can we talk privately?" Her voice cracked. "Whatever you have to say, you can say it here." She looked down, fidgeting with her watch, a nervous habit she always had when off script. "I made a terrible mistake," she finally said, tears starting again. "I miss you. I miss us. Everything's been falling apart since you left. The Brad thing was... God, I was so stupid. I can't sleep, can't eat." "Well, sorry to hear that," I said, not bothering to keep the indifference out of my voice. Amazing how people only realize what they had after it's gone. Is there someone new?" she asked, looking through the window at Hannah, who was helping clean up. "Yes, already. It's only been 6 months, Audrey. You were cheating on me for at least 3 months before we broke up. You don't get to question my timeline." She flinched. I know, I'm not. I'm just asking for 5 minutes. We had 2 years together. Doesn't that count for something?" I studied her for a moment. "You know what's strange? I feel absolutely nothing looking at you right now. You showed me exactly who you were, and I believed you. Is it because of her?" She nodded toward Hannah. "Because she's not..." "Don't," I warned. "Don't say whatever you were about to say. This isn't about Hannah. It's about the fact that you never respected me or what I do. You saw me as a placeholder, someone to keep your bed warm until something better came along." "Please," she sobbed, mascara running down her cheeks. "I'm really sorry. I can fix this." "Goodbye, Audrey." I turned and walked back inside, locking the door behind me. A year after walking away from Audrey, my life had found its rhythm. The studio was thriving with a 6-month wait list for custom pieces. We'd expanded into a showroom downtown where clients could see and touch the furniture before commissioning. I'd hired 2 more craftsmen and an office manager to handle the business side, freeing me to focus on design and craftsmanship. The lumberjack Barbie was doing just fine. Hannah and I had been together for 6 months. She understood my work in a way Audrey never did, appreciating both the art and the labor that went into each piece. On weekends, we'd take Cooper hiking or visit lumber yards looking for interesting pieces of wood with stories to tell. No pressure, no timelines, just enjoying each other's company. No constant checking of social media to see if we were doing relationships right. I was putting the finishing touches on a massive walnut conference table, my most expensive commission to date at $32,000, when my phone rang. Unknown number, probably another potential client from the magazine feature. "Ethan, it's Margaret Mitchell." I almost dropped my sander. "Margaret, what can I do for you?" "I need to speak with you. It's about Audrey." Her voice sounded tired, lacking the imperious tone I remembered. "Would you be willing to meet me for coffee?" My instinct was to refuse, but something in her voice gave me pause. "I'm not interested in getting back together with Audrey, if that's what this is about." "It's not," she sighed. "Please. 30 minutes of your time, that's all I'm asking." We arranged to meet at a coffee shop near my studio the next day. When I arrived, Margaret was already there, looking less polished than I remembered. The country club queen had clearly been dethroned. "Thank you for coming," she said as I sat down. "What's this about?" She wrapped her hands around her coffee cup. "Audrey's not doing well. She lost her job. After that scene with Brad, several clients requested different consultants. Then she missed deadlines, showed up late to meetings. They gave her warnings, put her on probation, but eventually had to let her go." I nodded, unsure what to say. Not my circus, not my monkeys anymore. "She moved back home with us for a while. I never thought I'd have my 29-year-old daughter back in her childhood bedroom crying herself to sleep. I'm sorry to hear that, but I don't see what this has to do with me." "She's obsessed." Margaret looked up, her eyes tired, "with getting you back, with proving she's changed. She drives by your workshop. She's created fake social media accounts to follow you. She talks about you constantly. That sounds like stalking." "I know." "Her father and I are concerned. We've suggested she move away, get a fresh start. She's interviewing for positions in Atlanta next week." She reached into her bag and pulled out a small box. "She wanted me to give you this. Said if you accepted it, she'd know there was still a chance. I didn't take it. There isn't. I know that. And deep down, I think she does too. But maybe if it comes from you directly, she'll finally accept it and move on." I hesitated, then took the box and opened it. Inside was the engagement ring I designed for her. "She kept this?" Yes, says she looks at it every day. I close the box and put it in my pocket. Thank you for returning this. The stones are family heirlooms. Margaret nodded, seeming smaller somehow without her usual armor of entitlement. I owe you an apology, Ethan. I was unkind when you broke off the engagement. I said things about you and your work that were snobby and cruel. You were protecting your daughter. I understand. No, I was protecting my own ego and social standing, the way we raised her. We're partly responsible for the person she became. Yeah, I didn't disagree. She stood up, gathering her things. I should go. Thank you for meeting me. Margaret, I called as she turned to leave. I hope Audrey gets the help she needs. And I meant it. I didn't wish her ill. I just wanted her out of my life. And just when I thought I was done with this BS, 1 week later, Audrey showed up one last time. I was loading some finished pieces into my truck for delivery when a familiar car pulled into my workshop parking lot. Audrey stepped out looking more like her old self, perfectly styled hair, designer clothes, makeup flawless. But her eyes were different, desperate in a way I'd never seen before. Audrey, your mother said you were moving to Atlanta. I turned down the interviews. She stepped closer. I realized what I really want is right here. Don't do this, I warned. Did my mother give you the ring? She asked, looking at my hands as if expecting to see it. She did. Hope flared in her eyes. And? I'm having the stones reset into something else. I didn't elaborate that they'd already been sold to a buddy of mine who was planning to propose to his girlfriend, a woman who actually appreciated him. Oh. She swallowed hard. Look, I know I messed up, but people can change, Ethan. I've changed. Maybe you have, I said carefully. But we're done, Audrey. We've been done for a year. I'm with someone else now. What you're doing is completely pointless. That teacher, she scoffed, a flash of the old Audrey showing through. Come on, she can't give you what I can. My father's offered to invest in your business. We could expand, open locations in other cities. I've been researching the high-end furniture market, and with my connections... Stop, I said firmly. You know what's funny? I sometimes used to think I wasn't good enough for you, that I needed to change to become more like the guys you grew up with. But now I realize you were never good enough for me. The color drained from her face. What? You talk about real women and how I couldn't handle them. But real women, real people, don't need to tear others down to feel superior. They don't cheat, they don't lie, and they don't mock the people they claim to love. I made mistakes. Stop. You made choices. Choices that showed exactly who you are. It's over. Go to Atlanta. Start fresh. Find someone who fits the image you're trying to create, because that person isn't me and it never was. I turned back to my truck, picking up the furniture I'd been loading. You're going to regret this, she called after me, voice cracking. When your little workshop fails and your teacher girlfriend gets tired of sawdust in the bed, you'll remember what you threw away. I looked at her one last time and laughed. Sure. I turned my back on her and continued loading the truck with Jackson, who was trying to hold his laugh back. Damn, he said under his breath as Audrey's car screeched out of the parking lot. That was cold, dude. Had to be done, I replied. The truck was loaded with a custom dining table that would sell for more than Audrey probably made in a month at her consulting job. Life's funny that way. That night, Hannah and I took the Mustang for a drive through the hills outside Nashville. Cooper had his head out the back window, tongue flapping in the wind. We didn't talk about Audrey's visit. Didn't need to. Some chapters are best left closed. 18 months after leaving Audrey, I got an unexpected LinkedIn notification. She'd moved to Chicago, taken a position at a smaller firm. Her profile picture showed her with a guy who looked exactly like what I'd expect. Slicked back hair, perfect teeth, country club polo. The kind of guy who probably calls his golf clubs his sticks and thinks a dovetail joint is something you smoke. I clicked away and went back to reviewing designs for a custom nursery set for Hannah and me. Our first kid is due in 4 months. The crib will be black walnut with maple accents, built to last generations. That's the thing about quality craftsmanship. It stands the test of time. Relationships should be the same way. Some people spend their lives trying to impress others, surround themselves with the right names, the right brands, the right addresses, but they never find real connection. I'd rather have calloused hands and honest relationships than smooth palms and empty promises. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And when they show you they think they're settling for you, walk away. You deserve better.